Hello, we are Hardlight. We first joined the Metaverse Maker competition in 2021, and this year we decided to make a tower defense game, The Defenders of Arcane Valley.
Defenders of Arcane Valley is a tower defense game where you need to strategically place towers to prevent hordes of enemies from reaching the leyline siphon in the center of the world, and you can also join the fight yourself, grab a weapon, and defend the valley.
Hardlight formed from a group of friends who wanted to do more than the occasional small world or toy that we did till that time, and the MMC provided the perfect scope for us to make a bigger project together in a certain time frame. Currently we are about 15 to 20 users who are joining mostly for MMC and building these worlds together.
Our entire workflow is fully integrated in Resonite. So while one person is working on the assets, bringing them in and taking a look at them, another person can be modifying them in real time or writing code, and you can see how that code affects the game in real time. You can even have one person writing the code while at the same time another person is testing the code. And that allows for a very powerful rapid prototyping workflow.
With collaboration comes the ability to do task sharing. For example, not everything needs to be done by a programmer in here. Programmers can create custom tools, such as this editor here, which we can use for balancing, because we can just edit the enemy waves. We can adjust how many should spawn, where they should spawn, and so on, right within the game. Another tool we made is this one, which an artist, for example, can use for placing decorations in here.
Motion capture for the cast scenes was done fully within Resonite with self-made tool that is publicly available. So let me just enter this avatar. Then start the recording. Hello, I'm the autopilot. This is my favorite game on Resonite. Then put that audio in there. And then we can play it back over here. Play. Hello, I'm the autopilot. This is my favorite game on Resonite. Yeah, then do a bit of export, making the proper animation, and you're done.
Organizing tasks in Resonite is very important, especially with a big team like Hardlight. So my job in this team is to make sure that everyone has tasks assigned and that everyone is credited properly, as well as the software and assets that we use for this project.
Everyone on the team has different strengths, weaknesses, and interests. There's some people that are good at drawing, some people that are good at 3D modeling, others are good at making music, and others again are good at making programs using protoflux. And the scope of MMC allows us to all come together, focus our combined efforts into one project, and make something that's bigger than the sum of its parts.
So, on the first day of MMC, first we brainstormed and pinned out some ideas we had. And then we decided what would be the best idea to do in a month. Our goal was to make a simple game that's easy to understand and well known to users in a general concept. First, we gathered a lot of good ideas, and then we decided to do a tower defense game because Jack really likes that stuff.
I've always enjoyed playing tower defense games in my childhood, so I thought it might be a good idea of something that we could do within 1 month for the competition and also make a pretty cool game world that we can also in the future expand on if we want to.
Since this is Resonite, where you have an inventory and you can just grab anything, save it, and spawn it in any world, we decided to express this feature instead of implementing some kind of anti-cheat which would prevent you from doing this. So in Defenders of Arcane Valley, you can just spawn in a weapon. For example, if it's like a melee weapon, you can put it on a plate, which infuses it with magic, and then you can just smack enemies with it. And that also includes throwables, such as cheese.
A tower defense game is a very complex thing that has a lot of moving parts that all need to work together to create a coherent experience. So what we decided to begin with, we created a plan, our tech tree, to figure out what functionality we need. And then as we started implementing them, we implemented them as a lot of individual pieces that in the end all slot together to create one coherent experience.
Splitting everything up into individual pieces makes it easy to focus on one thing at a time and make it good. So one thing we're especially proud of is just how many enemies you can have running around and you barely notice it. Just a few examples of them, but we can actually have a few hundred of them.
The first version of the world is obviously the game jam version, but we don't want to stop there. We still have a lot of ideas of stuff that we can add to the world to improve it going forward. For example, more enemy types.
And weapons, different types of damage, resistances.
And enemies being able to attack towers and players.
So, while Jack is still busy connecting us to the Stargate network, you can still come to Arcane Valley. Just open Resonite, go into the world browser and search for Defenders of Arcane Valley. Alternatively, you can just click the link in the video description.
Yeah! See you on Resonite!
Oh boy.
Check out Arcane Valley! Bye!
Bye.
Bye!